What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kinda Funny's MCU in Review, where every week leading up to Avengers Infinity War, we're going to review and rank the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The last couple of weeks, we've gotten through Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2. And now this episode, we are about to review Thor. I'm Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That's Kevin Coelho. That's Greg Miller. That's Nick Scarpino.
Hi.
That's a lot of names for you to know. But you're going to know them because we are going to be on every single episode of this show.
Come hell or high water.
So we think. We're going to aim for that because it creates consistency. Guess what else is consistent in your life? Constant in your life. You can get the show at 9 a.m. every Tuesday. YouTube.com/kindafunny. Or you can go on podcast services around the globe, including iTunes. And we would really appreciate if you would, review those things, like those things, download those things, subscribe. I don't really know exactly what it is. Depending on the podcast app, it could be different. I recommend Pocket Cast. It costs a couple dollars, but it's worth it.
How is it different SoundCloud?
A pocket what?
It's real.
Pocket
Cast.
Casts.
My favorite podcast app.
Ah,
A lot of people have been asking, like,
Thought
how
it was
should I
a
listen to Kind of Funny's MCU and Review via a podcast app? I'm like, you should listen to it via Pocket Cast.
I thought it was like
a couple people have been asking me.
when people walk around the streets of San Francisco with a little boom box, when they're like, they got it hanging out of their pocket. It's like,
Those are Bluetooth speakers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, why aren't we seeing more people listen to podcasts on those? People listen to music a lot on that and be really annoying on the bus, but I don't see them listening to podcasts on it.
Yeah.
Be somebody, yeah.
I always want to offer them headphones.
Yeah.
I kind of want to make a video of like, here, man.
They're going to
here's
take
some
out a
headphones.
dirty syringe, stab you with it.
So going into the show, there has been two catchphrases that I've really enjoyed. One, of course, is...
Ragu Bagu!
No, actually wasn't
Tony!
Say it.
It was the
Tony!
and the...
I want my bird.
Yes, I want my bird.
Not have a
I thought you were
marvelous
saying
day.
have a marvelous day.
Well,
Yeah.
That's the end. That's like
That's just the outro. I
That's
don't
so
know.
good.
We're talking about Thor today.
Thor! Hey, I'm gonna live forever.
Mega
Thor! Thank you for being there.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second half of Phase 1 of the MCU.
Time flies.
6 movies in Phase 1. This is, that lucky number 4.
Right.
AKA the first half.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're doing there.
The first of the
Start of the
half.
second half, yeah.
Oh, man, it's a beautiful time. What a time to be alive. It was released on May 11th, 2011. All
Never
right?
forget, man.
That was, exactly, that's what they say.
5/11.
So, pretty much exactly a year
Is that a 9/11 joke?
after Iron Man,
Jesus.
after Iron Man 2, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
We're talking 1 year. Captain America would soon follow it 2 months later.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so there was a real tight turnaround.
They really didn't
of
have
those.
their rollout plan on those yet, like hammered down just yet.
I feel at that point that was, right?
No, but I feel like now you look at them and aren't they spaced out a little bit better? Aren't we getting 2 a year? But they're like far away
Sometimes
from
we
each other.
get 3, and
Yeah.
sometimes they
Are we
can be.
only
Okay.
getting 2 this year, or is it 3? Are we
We're getting
getting
Black
Ant-Man?
Panther and
No,
Infinity
this
War.
year we're getting
Ant-Man
Black
2.
Panther, Avengers, and Ant-Man.
God, that's
So 3.
And the Wasp.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get to Ant-Man.
You see,
underrated
one.
as of recording, they put out a screen
crazy.
shot of him today.
It's underrated as fuck.
It's a
Or a
great
photo. They call it a
fucking
photo
movie.
in
Is it
real
not widely perceived as great?
I guess I'm only thinking of Gus Cerola's opinion. He didn't
God,
like
he's an
Ant-Man.
idiot.
Yeah, Gus
Gus
doesn't like a lot of
sorry.
things. Yeah.
This movie was directed by Kenneth Branagh. Brana. Now, Nick,
Braga.
you were dropping some facts about this guy.
fucking knowledge.
Why does it make sense that he would
Well,
direct
Kenneth
a movie
Branagh
like
is
Thor?
it comes from the school like a more Shakespearean background. He's done Hamlet a bunch of times. He's very much a play actor. He was in a Hamlet. He made a Hamlet movie
96.
that I believe he also directed, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, famously he just did Murder on the Orient Express, which is a period piece. He is in that. He plays Detective Poirot. As well as having directed that. So he's a very capable actor and director, but I think it was an interesting, looking back on it, I was like, interesting choice for a action film. Not like kind of weird, right? Because he hasn't done action before. But then I start thinking about it. I was like, well, when you see Asgard, when you see that is the sort of
They all
like
talk like
they all
assholes.
talk like Shakespearean actors, it kind of makes sense that he would kind of come in to work with those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I buy it, man. Makes a lot of sense. This movie had a budget of $150 million now, for reference here, because I know you guys love that reference.
Thank you.
Iron
More
Man
than
1
140,000.
had $140 million. So yeah, it was more than Iron Man 1, but less than Iron Man 2's $200 million.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
They built
Especially
a city for it.
when you look at... Did they build the city for it?
I think so.
That New Mexico
City?
Yeah.
The box office return was $449.3 million.
God, we were desperate.
Again, for reference, Iron Man 585 and Iron Man 2 at 623. So Thor making that much pretty big
I was gonna
deal.
say not that bad for Thor.
For Thor, because remember, going into this, were
Who
any
the
of us excited
fuck
for
no,
Thor?
No. My touchstone for Thor prior to this was Vincent D'Onofrio from Adventures in Babysitting. Okay, that's the only time I remember seeing
I was
Thor in
hoping you were going to
anything.
call out the
When he busted through with his glistening thighs.
the
Thighs.
Incredible Hulk TV show, like made for TV movie where Thor showed up. That was awesome.
The most excited I've
weird.
been for Thor was the after credits cutscene for Iron Man 2. Like that's
Exactly.
Oh, it was
that's
a hammer.
At that point, it's like, oh
yeah.
shit, Avengers is real.
and then after that, I
then you
kinda-
started seeing trailers for Thor, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh man, I don't really want to see Thor. Yeah.
absolutely.
So I'm just gonna throw the gauntlet down here. So far in the
Infinity
MCU in review, every single time I've seen one of these movies, I was
Damn.
like, about it, and then I rewatched it. I'm like, oh my god, I like that a lot
You're
more.
3
than I
for
thought.
3?
But then we get to Thor.
Oh no.
I remember when I first saw Thor, I was like, I don't give a fuck about this, and I left the movie being like, hey, I kind of care. I didn't really care, but I kind of cared. Watching it now, bottom of my list.
Oh yeah.
Bottom of the list.
This movie's so forgetful. I watched it last night and cannot remember what
Forgettable.
Stan Lee's cameo was.
Like,
I just-
Greg, let me tell
blocked
you
it
what
out.
Stanley's
We'll tell
cameo
you.
was. It was the guy from the pickup truck trying
Oh,
to get
yeah,
the
trying to
Right
the
there it
hammer.
is. Yeah,
Trying
trying
to
to
get
get
the
the hammer.
hammer. Yeah.
Trying to
the
get the
hammer.
hammer.
I think.
That's
Now,
kinda funny.
while we're
Sucked.
talking about that, let me throw another couple cameos out there for you.
some
One of the
harshness
most
to it.
It doesn't
respected,
suck.
one of the most respected writers of the Thor comics, J. Michael Straczynski, tries to lift the hammer in a cameo.
work.
Yet another Thor writer and artist, Walter Simonson, makes a cameo sitting next to Sif during the banquet scene.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Cameos. That's
Okay.
all the cameos I got.
I love that
For you.
Thor introduces us to his wacky band of friends, none of which we can name.
Ladies.
We're just like,
Ladies
Sif.
all right.
Oh,
Warriors
there's
3.
The Warriors
Gimli, Gimli, fucking
Yeah, the one guy's like Jackie Chan,
Xena,
Gimli
Jackie
is,
Chan,
yeah.
and Hercules or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Also, that was like the only Asian character in Asgard.
Yeah.
And he was really Asian.
And then he was called Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
They sort of,
That's harsh.
yeah.
Now, something interesting about this movie,
Also,
though.
they're all dead now, but we'll get there. not Sif.
This
good.
movie's interesting because it's the first time in this universe where they had to build another world. The other ones Earth-based and were much more grounded. This had to introduce magic, had to introduce the idea of what another world could look like, and space travel
That
and all
Rainbow
that stuff.
Road.
Well, that's one of the things that I really
Rainbow
liked
Road.
about this, right? And you're talking about the plot, and I don't really going in. I didn't know shit about Thor, or Asgard, or Norse mythology,
did.
or any of these things, right? Because why would I, right? It wasn't really a popular character, that popular character, not that he is now. But the cool thing that I liked that they did with this, and it's the Thor mythology, but I thought they explained it very well, was like, hey, to earlier civilizations on Earth, these were gods, and they play with that theme of like, well, this is all, Stellan Skarsgård goes, this is magic, this is kid stuff we're talking about, and Natalie Portman goes, isn't magic sometimes just science that people don't understand? Like,
Yeah.
can't that be what this is? And that's
So
what it
very
was.
cool. I
right?
love that, and those opening scenes where you see them, like the Vikings. It's like they believe all this stuff because they saw it and
Right.
because they truly,
'Cause they
I mean,
were
know
gods
that
with
that
thunder.
it's real.
Thunder.
A cool thing there is the Norwegian village that you see in the flashback in Thor early in the movie is the same village seen in the beginning of Captain America: The First Avenger.
Oh, wow.
Stay tuned next week to,
There you
to
go.
see that one, but that's pretty cool. But yeah, that to the movie's credit, I think that it did a really good job of setting up how Asgard works with Earth and how that whole relationship is and why people do know about Thor and all of that. And I think they did do a good job of creating this other world, and I think they did that via the use of color a lot.
yeah.
Like the throne room is one of the most beautiful things in the MCU that we've
cool.
seen, and I love all of their outfits and stuff of like how the color kind of dictates who they are. With Thor and Loki next to each other, the red and silver versus the green and gold. It's just such a cool like dichotomy next to each other, and I was like, man, there's a lot about this movie I like, and then there's a lot of Dutch angles that don't need to be there.
Yeah, the action itself
What's
of
a
the
Dutch
movie.
angle?
A Dutch angle is when the
Camera's
frame is
tilted.
canted
Oh,
to
thank
the
you.
left or right. And there's a lot more. Tim and I were noting this morning on the morning show. He was like, I thought there was only a few shots of it. There's very
so
liberal use
many.
of the camera going in and out of Dutch angle, and it's a little off-putting, especially when, for whatever reason, they chose. Well, actually, I do know the reason now. Watching it a second time. Originally, I was like the climax of the film, which is the Loki shot, right? I thought I always remembered it as being the fight with him and the Destroyer, which was in broad daylight.
Yeah.
In the middle of this fake
Also,
town that
his
they made. in the
hammer
middle.
comes out of nowhere. Like he dies, and then his hammer just decides, oh no, I gotta go back to
Now
him.
it's time.
Now
Let's
it's like, all
replay
right.
the Anthony Hopkins scene again. And then you cut it to him.
Maybe how
Didn't make any sense. Why was he reading that line? But goddamn, Anthony Hopkins
was worthy,
so
man.
good.
You know what
But
was going
Anthony
on.
Hopkins is such an amazing actor. Where it's like, out of all the movies we've seen so far, it's the 3 that we've seen, whatever. This is the movie that I paid the least attention. But as soon as Anthony Hopkins' voice came in, like when he is getting pissed at Thor and like fucking reaming him out, damn, that was some solid acting.
He makes it feel more real.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's
He's
some
a
quality.
great.
He's pretty good. He's going places, man.
He's going places.
He might have a career.
Look at that Idris
Yeah.
Elba,
He's got a
man.
future in this, man.
Oh, Idris Elba's another one. Like, oh man, the second day we're in, I was like, I'm in. Idris Elba's here. I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is, of course, we're time travelers now watching this movie. But how bad did you want to hear Immigrant Song?
Oh, no,
So
The
seriously.
entire fucking movie.
So
It
bad.
was boring.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing about it is I remember watching this the first time, and I came out of the theater and I thought to myself, I really liked the things I liked about the movie was it was cool to see Asgard. It was cool to see how the mythology mixed with the science of the world and how they were explaining that. And he has that great line where he's like, to me, magic and science are one and the same. Like that's in my world. Like we just don't think about it in the same terms as you do. And I really liked Natalie Portman, and I really liked watching Natalie Portman look at Chris Hemsworth and have him look at her, and you could.
She was so thirsty.
I could
so
hope.
thirsty.
I hope that they actually liked each other because it really felt that way. Like
it
they
looked
really
she
liked
was
each
in
other,
love
right?
with him, and I liked that.
She's
I
a great
enjoyed
actress.
That.
I love
It
that.
totally. I feel like that gave her character a lot more, which is weird because like it's such an archetype of just like, oh, she's the smart girl and she likes the hot guy
She
or
has
whatever. But there's something about it that works for me. Right?
Yeah, they were
She
cute
has
together.
girl. Yeah.
He was a boy. One thing that I really like, one of the best scenes I think in the whole movie is towards the beginning when they decide to go against their father's wishes and go confront the ice giants
or whatever it's called.
Yeah, whatever the fuck, Jotunheimer or whatever.
Jotunheim, that's
and
right.
go back to your planet, little girl, or whatever.
Yeah,
and then cut to Loki and
Princess,
damn.
yeah.
Princess.
Yeah.
Like I love that scene because it shows such a brutal nature that Thor has, and he's like kind of a bully almost, and he's like, man, I'm gonna fuck this guy up or whatever. But I
He's
don't.
totally the high school quarterback.
I totally, yeah, exactly. But I totally don't remember Thor's character being this way. I don't remember like this cocky, arrogant.
Well, it's because it changes after this.
Yeah, I guess
he had to be humble
I
to
guess that
become
was his
worthy.
arc or
And
whatever.
what's cool is like his character totally changed after this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like what, halfway through this movie where he sacrificed
Another.
himself. Yeah.
I guess I just
Dude,
don't-
that was so funny. The
was.
humor
Still
in this
funny.
movie, I think, was really good.
Yeah, I think
There's
those
a
are some
bunch
great
of
I don't think
little
there was
moments.
enough though.
You think there was enough or
I
not?
don't
enough?
think there was
No,
enough.
I agree. I don't
I agree
think
with
there was
that.
enough.
I agree with that.
But the moments that we had, like
were good.
the him getting tased, there were a bunch of little moments. Where
Yeah,
it's like,
we're gonna have to drive around all over New Mexico to find him. They just hit him immediately. And like, that's
great
fine.
moment.
That's a good one.
So we were getting into this last week. We did something where I had Greg give the plot. Sure,
It was a huge
Iron Man
success.
2, and it was a huge
fucking
success.
awesome.
Let me
I
tell you,
want to
nobody
switch it up
expects
a
it.
bit, and I
we're
want to
gonna
have
switch
different
gears?
people give the plots week to week. Nick, it's your week.
Kicking it
What's
off.
the Thor plot?
The Thor
plot of
plot
Thor.
synopsis is as follows. Thor follows the titular character Thor Odinson as he is about to take the throne of Asgard, right? His dad's about to abdicate the throne. Dad played by Anthony Hopkins, of course. Dad has some reserves, though, because he realizes deep down that his son is not quite ready. He's not good enough of a
Hasn't gone
man.
through puberty yet.
He does not have what it takes
He
to
still
be
has
king
dyed
yet.
eyebrows.
That is backed up when somebody lets in a frost giant into this cool, albeit very simply placed prison, or not prison, but like a menagerie
Museum,
of
if
all
you
these
wanna say.
The
incredibly
Destroyer had it.
dangerous
The Destroyer
fucking
had it.
weapons
And now let me give you a
that
couple
have
little
2 guards and that's
fun
it.
things there. You
But
can
the
see
Destroyer was back there ready to fucking.
the Destroyer was ready to fuck things
annihilate.
up. You can see the Eye of Agamotto, which we later see more about in Doctor Strange. The Orb of Agamotto, the Eternal Flame, the Tablet of Life and Time, the Casket for Ancient Warriors that is really prominent in this movie. And then the fake Infinity Gauntlet that they had to retcon later in the Asgard weapons vault that we see in Ragnarok, where they're like, well, we shouldn't have shown that early.
Yeah.
We totally got to
And
write that
I
out.
like how they retconned it, by the
Me
way.
too. Me too.
And it's cool that it was.
And it was cool that we saw it, because that was
Yep.
world building, even if they eventually backed out of it.
Because back then, that was super exciting. I
Super
remember
fucking
being like,
exciting.
oh my God.
That's the
They're
fucking
doing
gauntlet.
it.
Yeah.
They're
Missed
doing
it in the theaters, missed it in this one.
Yeah.
Me too.
How? Well, I mean, it
This
actually.
movie's boring as
just one
fuck. I
shot.
was probably looking at my phone. Like,
That's
That's
Jesus.
fair. So we picked the story back up there where 2 ice giants from this other planet that Asgard and them have been feuding for years. And there's been there's a tenuative piece that now we think is going to get broken when 2 ice giants try to break in and steal whatever that ice cube thing is. What's it called?
That is the casket of.
That's the casket of whatever, which is their weapon, the weapon that they use to attack Asgard,
Mordor.
that has been locked in this menagerie and this weapons chamber for a very, very long time, thus ensuring peace. Now,
for ancient warriors.
those two are killed. But we learned very shortly that they were red herrings. Basically, they were just there to incite Thor and his gang of merry men and women to go back and kick some ass where the Ice Giants are from.
In a very cool action scene.
Very cool action scene.
Including a baller-ass scene where I usually don't like the CG monsters running after people and whatever, but when they let loose the big frost giant thing that was chasing him down, and he fell down the hole, and they thought they had him, but then he like went
That was underneath it, running upside
and was
down.
running,
Really
like,
bad.
that's a cool-ass
And then
fucking
Thor
thing.
shoots through his mouth through the
Thor
back of his
becoming
head.
the bullet. Oh my god!
One shout out
So
of this
cool.
scene that that they didn't actually lament to. They didn't spend too much time like actually showing, but there's a spot where he's fucking knocking people out of the park on the ice planet. What's it called? Jogensteigens?
That's it. Jogensteigens.
And Heineken Roth. And they start coming at him, and he realizes there's too many of them, and he starts twirling the hammer and then fucking knocking them out of the
so
guy.
cool.
It's so cool.
The
And then-
sound design on that's great too.
Right. Yeah, shout out to the sound design of that and the Destroyers.
Oh,
which
great.
in
I love
theaters
it.
was so fucking loud that I was like, it actually terrified me the first time I heard it.
I love his design. Such
So
a
they-
cool
So
design.
The
cool.
Destroyer. Fucking
yeah.
awesome.
Especially the scene where he like did the
Where he spins
Transformers thing. He
around.
spins around. Like,
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Someone thought about this.
So
This is
well
cool.
done. Yeah.
I love it because it reminds me of the robot from The Day the Earth Stood Still, which is
yeah.
that menacing,
Indestructible.
just standing there, indestructible like thing that you can't
No
stop.
remorse, no feelings,
zero.
no
It's
face to
just
like
doing its
gauge
job.
emotion.
And what
Yeah.
a cooler name than the Destroyer. That's pretty awesome. So they go to this ice planet, which is based, and Thor starts kicking ass, but it turns out, hey, guess what? We've been off a little too much more we can chew. Spoilers for Thor's character. That's what he does. He just brazenly goes in he rushes in where, angels fear to tread. And Odin has to come down and save him and goes, look, you're straight up just not ready for this. Can't do it, right? You're not going to be king. And he has that amazing line delivery where he goes, but you're not king. Yeah.
That was good. That was
And
good.
whatever reason, Kenneth Branagh was like, that's the take we're using.
It was good
That's
though.
going to be the take
He's
we're
like
using, right?
randomly, Anthony Hopkins just goes, ah!
Yeah, I know. I laughed at that
It's
too.
so, but like it's so good. Also, when he like teleports in with the rainbow on his horse,
Oh,
he's
that's
also
sick.
making that yell,
Yeah.
and it's fucking good.
It's like, all right,
It's like, all right,
you're king,
yeah.
You're Thor's dad. I buy that. I also love Thor saying I have no plans to die today.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
No one ever does.
That was a great response.
I want to give a shout out to Loki as a character here too. That
Right.
he's the motivating factor. All this.
Yeah.
You can see him nudging Thor on the path to do
it's-
exactly what he wants.
yeah. So very quickly we learn a couple things that are important.
He's
One,
like Grima Wormtongue. Lord of
Loki
the Rings
is
reference.
not what he seems in
Nobody knows
either
what it is.
physical form or mentally. He's actually been basically manipulating Thor into going on these things so that he can get his father's favor and eventually take over Asgard and become king. Thor is an idiot who's just straight. What you see is what you get, and does not see that his
I punch
brother
hard.
is doing this. We also learn that Loki, when he was touched by one of the frost giants, may actually in fact be one of the frost giants, which throws him for a loop because he was like, that explains why I don't look like one of the other Hemsworth brothers. I look clearly like someone completely different. Confronts his father about that. His father, for whatever reason, passes out because we learn that he was supposed to. He was abdicating the throne because he's dying. He's basically his time in this ethereal realm ending. Right? Can't remember how, but somehow he banishes Thor to Earth, Midgard.
Well,
It's in the
it was
room with
before he
Anthony,
passed out.
in the
Before
thing,
that.
in the thing, but you're not king, and he
Takes-
tears off his little badges.
That's
so cool.
Oh, for your
Badges.
father and for your father, or for my father and my father's father,
before you, yeah.
you're done, right? Takes Mjolnir, which, by the way, has the coolest fucking origin story ever, with one line: "Forged in the heart of a dying
Fucking
star."
dying star.
The
Are we going to see that
fucking-
shit?
I hope,
God, I hope
to
so.
God
I think
we
we
are,
are.
right? Takes it away from it, whispers something in, right? We don't really understand the context of it, but we think it's probably going to come back later in the third
Mama,
act,
let
which
me whisper
spoilers it
in your
does,
ear.
where he says, what is it? Whoever holds this power, if he be worthy, shall have the power of Thor, basically. And we see the cool little symbol pop on it for a second, which I didn't realize actually comes back in a second. And then, boom, that goes to Midgard. Thor goes to Midgard, and we start his real journey, which is that he's now a real person. He doesn't have his powers anymore.
Midgard is Earth.
Midgard is Earth. That's where we find Natalie Portman, Kat Denning, and the bad guy from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, who will
Eric,
always
really
Eric
bad in that
Sedgwick.
Eric Sedgwick, played by Stellan Skarsgård, one of the Skarsgårds, who, by the way, I
dad.
think is related to the guy that played It.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. At least they have the same last name, which is probably a very common Nordic last name. He meets Natalie Portman, who is a astrologist. I can't remember what she does, but she's physicist.
Was it physicist?
Astrophysicist.
That's the one. That's the one.
She's studying wormholes, and I can't remember the name that she said, the Eisenstein Bridge or whatever it is. But she's studying wormholes. She just happens to be very good friends with someone who is incredibly Nordic and remembers Norse mythology from when he's young. And they start piecing together that maybe this guy might be either crazy or there might be something to him being Thor. He tries to go get his hammer back. Of course, he fails because he is not worthy of this yet.
In which they introduce Hawkeye to the picture that I totally forgot about, and he's there for 2 seconds because this movie's forgettable.
It's so weird though, because I didn't.
Like it
I
better
think
than
this
Hulk.
is another case of
You're an idiot.
When you go back and watch it, it's like we didn't know that Hawkeye mattered. You know, it's like people was like,
I remember that being a huge deal, and me being like, I don't remember the Arrow guy, but I'm gonna look for it next time I see it.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is like I feel like at that point there was the hardcore Marvel Comics fans knew, but the Marvel fans, that just as general like people that grew up with the '90s cartoons and stuff, they were more like, oh yeah, there's an Arrow guy. It's that guy.
I mean, I
But
feel like
you don't know who the fuck
Hawkeye
he
is still like, there's an Arrow guy.
No, he's great.
He's
Matt
had some great
Matt
great
Fraction's
comic runs that are like now he's iconic.
Yeah,
because of
comic
that.
runs.
Well, they've then kind of turned his character kind of that way in Age of Ultron and stuff. A little bit.
We'll
yeah.
see.
I do
more fun.
feel like as Loki is sort of guiding Thor to do all these sort of things, it's sort of taken away the history that Thor knows that he's kind of mischievous.
Yeah, it's
and
weird
stuff.
that as a
Like,
person who is self-proclaimed god of mischief, is that what he
Yeah.
is?
I
That
I think
everyone's
it's
just like-
self-proclaimed.
well, I guess the people talk to him about it now, but like Loki in Norse mythology, like when he opens the book, he's like, "Oh, this is Loki. He's the god of mischief or whatever it is."
And lies. Mischief and lies.
So people kind of knew that
But it's
about
like
him
the-
before
yeah,
and
it's
going
like-
into this.
for the first 2/3 of the movie, Thor's kind of acting like he has never
Brother.
been tricked by Loki before,
Yeah.
or he's like Loki's ever fucked with him. And then,
I mean, I think it's always been like brotherly fucking with.
but like
Like, you know, turning into a snake and then fighting him.
I think he's done pretty
how much I
bad
love
shit. But then at that one part towards the end where he mentions like I should have expected this from you or whatever. It's like, well, yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess they
probably.
have to do that for the viewers, but
You're gonna be a bad guy in the next like 4 movies
they-
straight.
that-
Yeah, we
that's
probably
the-
should expect you to
I
be a
actually
bad
didn't
guy.
love Loki in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I loved him in Avengers, obviously,
Yeah.
but I feel like in this movie I was like, I was like, oh man, I'm stoked to watch Thor because like
Get
to
some
see
Tom.
get more Loki, and I feel like he was kind of lame in this, and I feel like it was a necessary lameness. To
there was no puny god moment.
yeah, not at all.
I
I mean, that's not his moment though.
It's not my
Like,
favorite.
when he-
It's not my favorite set of Loki moments, or by any stretch of the imagination. But I appreciated it being his origin, where it was is like I don't know anything about these guys. Oh, he's going. He's turning them into. Okay, I see where he's going.
Yeah. I bought most of it. I just like at the end of the day, it's forgettable. And I feel like Thor, the movie overall to me wasn't bad. It's just kind of
There.
the first
Yeah.
one of the bunch. But where you're at in the plot, I love the scene of him coming in to get the hammer.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that
first
was
off,
fun.
I love the cameos and people trying to get the hammer. That was the first
was
real
fun.
bit of like levity in the
Yeah.
movie. I think that on Earth at least that wasn't the whole.
Ties into what we were talking about prior, where we do see the Coulson scene he pulls up.
Yep,
This time he's at
exactly.
Acura, I think, which I think was a different car than he was prior to that. Maybe they had a different sponsorship. I just
it?
remember thinking, wow, that's an Acura.
There were tons of
There's a lot of
Acuras.
Acuras in this
Interesting movie.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's funny.
Tons of
But
Acuras.
I love that scene, but I really loved him breaking into the,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It
Because
was a
he-
fucking awesome action scene.
Yo,
he was
big.
so confident and like I didn't really like the whole him giving her the coat and being like, "You're gonna want to get ready for this." It's like, what? You make it rain? Like,
Well, it's gonna be a lightning
I
storm.
think
yeah, but it just started raining.
it was more he like didn't need it. You know, like,
Well, I think he knew it was gonna
I'm
rain and he
I'm
wanted to
go
keep her
get
dry.
My armor on. Like I don't need a jacket. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I don't
armor
know.
up.
I think it was convenient that literally he gave it to it and then it started raining.
Well, I think he knew it was
I didn't
gonna rain.
realize
It was like thunder, and it was thunder. There was thunder there. He's
So
the
of
god
course,
of thunder.
he fights
knows.
through all of these people.
and it's badass.
Badass. He still wins, but at the end, he goes to grab the Mjolnir, and in one triumphant fuck up, he puts both hands on it, pulls, and what has to be the biggest his biceps have ever been
Oh
my
in that
God.
scene. They
Those
are
things deserve
just-
titles on the fucking poster.
They are, yeah. They must have been his grandfather and his grandfather's grandfather, whatever the fuck
I do love
Odin said about him. They were
Coulson's
gorgeous.
like
I want to see
kind
what
of
this
Yeah,
goes.
let him.
let's see what
Let's
happens.
Let's see what happens.
I do
That's
love that
dope.
curiosity
Yeah,
there.
but
yeah.
that's cool.
Right.
Him not getting it. I loved that moment. But just going back, I loved how they handled Hawkeye, where it was just kind of a tease, which made me more interested in who he was. Because it's like if they gave us shit, it'd have been like, okay, no one gives a fuck.
Right.
But not giving it, I was like, all right. But I love the scene of him looking at the gun and then grabbing the bow and arrow. I'm like, that's dope. But my favorite thing of that scene is Thor fucking two-legged drop kicking the guy.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, there was like a freeze frame there for a second. I'm like, that's fucking rad.
But also, Hawkeye's response, like, I'm starting to root for this guy. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
He's like, if you guys don't hurry up, I'm starting to root for this guy. That was really fun. Of course, he grabs the hammer, and like everyone else who is not worthy, he is not able to pick it up, and thus we find our character in the worst possible spot where he's realized that he has failed completely. And once we think it can't get any worse, he gets a visit from his brother while he's in captivity, and Loki says, "Hey, bad news. Dad died, and Mom doesn't want you to come back. You are exiled. Your exile continues. You have to stay here forever," which puts him on the path of just kind of accepting it very quickly, I might
Very
add.
quick.
Because the next day, he
I
just
got
starts making
Natalie
breakfast for
Portman.
everyone.
he feels bad. Like, he felt
He
guilty.
does.
He was like, I caused this. Like, and I think that's the start of the change for the character.
Right.
Suddenly, he has a moment and reflects, like, man, I really fucked up.
Yeah.
Because the key there too that you didn't add is like Loki said, "There's peace now. We're cool
Right.
together.
You
with
can't
the-
come
the
back.
Frost
It's conditional
people."
on you not
on
coming
you
back.
Not coming back.
Now, of course, that's what he's saying, but back on Asgard, that's not what Thor's boys and friends are seeing. They're seeing that Loki has basically manipulated this whole situation to become king. They don't like that. Idris Elba sure as shit doesn't like that. We get yet another great scene with Idris Elba where he's standing there and he's like, "Do you mean to tell me that you're going to basically like commit treason and go against the king's wishes if I let you pass?" And they're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Good." And
Good.
walks
He
away,
just
right?
like,
Just
fucking
get out
baller.
there, right?
Love that.
So
Baller is
baller.
badass.
Totally
They-
working for somebody he does not want to work for.
He
I
had
love that.
solid
Right.
scenes, too. The like,
Where he gets fired.
no, yeah, but right before that, he's like, I've never seen, like, I looked on you and I couldn't see you. Like, that's never happened
Well, yeah,
before.
when you're
yeah.
doing Loki,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
on to you,
Yeah.
you little fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Putting some stuff together.
what-
He's a freak, man. He's
Wait, are
watching
we
all
at the
sorts
scene?
of people
Are we
fucking.
at the part where he gets frozen yet?
Well, so we're coming up to that. So of course, they go to Midgard. They find Thor. This is
I
a
love
real-
do not mistake my appetite with apathy.
Yeah, from
When,
the
like,
guy,
Gimli or
from the
whatever.
troll, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Eating this shit.
And my ox.
Of course, this kind of verifies what Stellan Skarsgård and Natalie Portman were thinking, was that this guy might actually be legitimately Thor. When they see 4 other people dressed up in costumes, they were like, "Oh wow." And to which I would have been like, "That's kind of weird that they're dressed in costumes, but they really haven't done anything yet." And then, of course, Loki gets wind of this and realizes shit's about to go down. I got to send the destroyer to kill my brother. Right.
Which was weird.
It was a weird question.
Like,
Yeah,
my
because they
thing
could
is
have just locked him there.
They
and-
introduced the destroyer in a very brief thing of when the Frost Giants were first coming in, and it was like,
Well,
oh,
he just gets rid of the problem right away.
He gets rid of the problem. It's like, oh, he's a protector of the museum, Or
Yeah.
not museum, but like
trophy room.
The trophy room. Cool. But then Loki's just like, hey, go get Thor. And he's like, okay. Like,
Yeah, it does.
I
Well,
guess
at
He
the
does
moment,
what he was
Loki,
bidding.
Yeah,
He just has
Loki's
to
getting
obey.
in.
Yeah, he has to obey.
So the destroyer comes to Earth.
Is it alive? Did it die?
I don't know.
Because I just assumed it was like a robot.
Yeah, me
But like
too.
the thing is,
Oh,
was
it
Loki king? Because technically the king was still king.
Yeah, but he was like
when the
basically
king's
in a
down,
coma.
yeah, the king, you gotta have that.
Yeah,
you know.
that whole part, I think
Vice
maybe either
King
I was
stuff.
looking at my
The-
phone, but I don't know how
Odin's-
he became
the
king.
He
Odin's
slipped the
sleep-
destroyer like a $20 bill. I was like, hey, man,
bro.
just do it.
I love, it's so just the convoluted, like, badass king thing, but Loki's sitting on the throne all fucking slouched and shit.
Yeah.
With his stupid ass horns that look really cool.
I fucking love those horns.
them. I
Those are
love them
so
too.
cool.
So his boys come to Earth. They're like, hey, some shit's going down. You got to come back. Your dad's still alive. Loki's been lying to you.
He's
and he
pissed.
goes, oh, no. And then the destroyer comes and wrecks all of the Acuras. Just takes them all out in one fell swoop.
It just destroys this fake ass city.
Just takes down this weird small town in New Mexico that only 15 people are living at. And comes for Thor. Thor, of course, goes, hey, I can't fight this guy. I'm a normal human being now. You guys keep, go after him, but just buy me some time so that I can take a child from 15 feet away and put that child in the back of a pickup truck, and then I will have thus become a hero. Of course, the destroyer ain't having any of that shit. He fucks everyone up, and Thor finally realizes the only way to save his friends, the only way to truly like save his friends, is to be selfless and sacrifice himself so that they can get away. Where they're going, nobody fucking knows, because the
15 feet
destroyer
away.
can fly.
He knew that they were out. The destroyer was
destroyer
after
just wanted to
him.
kill him.
Exactly. So he was like,
Right.
let me just end this. Which
I love-
is
So
really,
he, of course, says, brother, I don't know what I've done to you in the past, whatever I do, I truly am sorry for this. Do what you got to do. And Loki has that one moment where you're like, oh, he's going to forgive him. No, he's not. Just fucking slaps Thor across the chest like
Kills
Hulk
him.
Hogan did to Greg in that hotel room and kills him.
True story.
Right. But in killing him, and when as his dying breath's happening and Natalie Portman's crying over him, she's like, no. They're like, we gotta go. This thing's still fucking crazy. Thor,
Crazy.
right? Thor, then of course, has proven his father right. He has become worthy, and even though he's lying on the ground, Mjolnir pops up from its spot, goes up into the air, and we see Thor see his hand grab it, and you think he's standing, but he's not. He's actually still laying down, which is crazy. And then his armor starts coming back on him, and he just hands that destroyer its ass as the God of Thunder should.
And then Natalie Portman's like,
Whirlwind.
it's a good look.
That is
Yeah,
the
that was
best.
awesome.
She goes, is that the way you normally look? And he's like, yes. And she's like, good look. It's so hot when she says it.
dude.
And then there's another
real.
scene where he like says something to her and she just giggles a
She
little
just
bit.
giggles.
And it's so
all she does in this movie is giggle.
oh my God, I love Natalie Portman so much.
Such a good actor.
It almost makes you overlook how bad his hairpiece is. The
Oh,
entire
it's
movie.
so
The
bad.
hair and the fucking eyebrows. Why?
And eyebrows
The hair
and
and
beard,
the cape.
they did it in.
The cape is like
It's like
The shoulder pads on the cape are
very
amazing.
stiff
Yeah.
on the shoulders. To kind of, I don't know.
Right.
Super.
When the
Looks
destroyer
very
first
unnatural.
came, I really appreciated the scene of him blowing up the Acuras and Coulson being like, "Is that Stark tech?"
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Building the universe.
There
Yeah.
was a moment
Yeah,
where
I love his like sort of disappointment where he's like, "Fucking shit, Tony Stark, what are you doing?" You know, like you could see like he's used to this sort of bullshit already.
there was a moment where Thor and Coulson are talking. He says, "Son of Cole."
Oh yeah,
Yeah, which
Son
I
of
thought
a-
was just a random like those
No,
little
that's funny. I
interactions.
know, I didn't catch that.
I
That's
didn't
really
see
funny.
that.
We did skip probably the best scene that I apologize about. When he first goes back to her apartment, he is shirtless for approximately 15 seconds.
That is true.
he
And
got
in-
that thrust bucket.
And in doing so, I distinctly remember how they say they say smell is the best thing to like get memories back in your brain. Not true. Chris Hemsworth's abs are in fact the best because I remember watching that scene in the theater and letting out an audible gasp when I saw. I was like, and whoever I was with watching it was like, "You just fucking gasped at Chris Hemsworth."
How dare you,
It was-
Chris?
Honestly,
it was
we talked about it
nasty.
already, but the scene of him fucking getting the hammer, like those biceps, like, I was,
He
like,
got
was that
big,
CG?
bro.
Was
Here's-
that really good?
Remember,
CG?
remember this. Chris Hemsworth, it was rumored at the time, a while back, Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pine were both vying for Captain Kirk. Chris Pine, of course, got that. Chris Hemsworth got his dad. His
daddy role,
Well, that's
yes.
probably the best scene in the entire three
sure.
movies. And they're making a movie about that dad, so he might reprise that role
Oh,
again.
are they?
Supposedly.
There's gonna
So
be time
back in the
travel
day,
involved.
I thought to myself, oh, wow, how horrible is it that he got asked out on that because Chris Pine's career is totally amazing. Look forward 10 years. Who's got the 8 movies with Marvel that are keep going? Chris Pine's career is like, maybe he's out there fighting.
he was
He
in
was a
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Is he gonna
Dead.
be in the next
He's gonna
one?
be in the sequel.
Hey, he was in a picture.
I think there was one really awful scene of CG where Heimdall is frozen, and behind him, an ice giant looks like a fucking video game character from like PS2, and he just sort of like.
Yeah, it was bad.
Has,
Those
like,
ice
really-
giants.
All
didn't
the
look
ice
great,
giants
yeah.
look bad.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
Yeah.
like, you know, the practical when they're up close talking and. You could see that
And
some
then
of them are
just
just
scaled them up by
humans that are scaled up or
25%,
whatever.
yeah.
But then some of them are just straight up like, I feel like in that scene, they forgot that they filmed it without ice giants, and they're like, fuck, we forgot to put the ice giants in
Yeah.
there.
What's he
They're
gonna
just
stab?
like, totally like, oh, dude, call up Randy. He's in college for like 3D art, right? Yeah, have him fucking make a model and like
Fucking
it looked,
Randy,
Put some
dude.
blue blobs back
Looked
there. It'll be fine.
terrible, dude. It looks so bad.
So, of course, then once he's beat the Destroyer and he realizes that Loki's plot is there, Heimdall frees himself in the ice, stabs Gumby and the Smurf on his right, and then lets him
So
back
dope,
up.
though.
It was cool. Well, he's-
Lops their head off, right? And like a really, like they have
They
no
went
problem
there.
killing ice giants
Yeah.
at
They ain't
all.
people. It's fine.
and
He
then
like
comes
fucked the skull.
Jesus.
Was that his lead scene?
yeah.
and then comes back to beat the shit out of the rest of the ice giants that are there. Who one of them laid hands on Rene Russo, and let me tell you, son, you don't lay hands on Rene Russo in my house. That's just not how that goes. Thor comes back. Loki, of course, has Odin's staff, which is very powerful as well. Because I don't remember Loki being that powerful. I think Thor hands him his ass in Avengers. And they fight and they fight and they fight. But meanwhile, Loki's like, hey, I'm going to set this rainbow bridge to destroy the ice giants so that when my father wakes up, who I think he was planning to kill, but I'm not quite sure what that whole plan was, he's going to be really proud of me and see that I am the heir to the throne, even though I could probably just kill him right now. But then when the ice giants go to kill him, he kills him, and there's a whole thing. So his plot, we learn, was that the ice giants were going to come. They were going to try to kill him. He was going to save his father and then let his father make him king, even though he was already king. And had the ice giant just killed his father, he could have killed the ice giant and been totally fine.
But he wants the love and respect of Odin.
See it in his eyes.
And you can see it in his
of
eyes.
this
And he
hunk
lets
of
go.
man,
Right.
Thor, getting all
And
the
so
praise.
once that doesn't happen, he
Perfect
goes the
chest.
opposite way with it, which is what we've learned about the Marvel franchise, is that once you don't get your way, you go psychopath, right? I'm going to commit genocide and destroy all of these ice giants by setting the Rainbow Bridge
His
on
people
fucking
Remember,
high.
His
they
people.
don't matter. You know, what
They
I
don't
mean?
matter. They don't matter. Ice giants don't matter.
They are his people.
And so he does that. He locks it in.
I
Thor
forgot
can't
about.
get it
He
done.
locks it in,
And
yeah.
Thor, of course, has to make the choice. Do I destroy the bridge and never see Natalie Portman again unless Idris Elba's kind of creepily looking at her? Or do I try to find another option? Of course, it's no brainer for him. He smashes he has a great shot where he beats Loki's ass, and then in order for Loki not to get up, he just lays the
hammer
fucking
on
hammer
him.
on his
Oh,
chest,
so good.
which was
good.
really cool. And then he goes, I got to destroy this bridge. Takes it, smashes the bridge to pieces, ending, I guess they don't have a backup bridge anywhere. They just kind of really asked them, all the eggs in that one
If
basket.
I remember correctly, there is another bridge in the next two movies, right?
Yeah, they
Yo,
kinda
yeah,
glossed over it.
I- build it.
when it ended,
see.
I was very much like, how does he get back? I remember there being more bridges and more
Yeah.
rooms and shit. Like, how
Well,
did he?
I mean, Loki was able to get the frost giants there in the beginning of the movie.
There was,
He
a
says there's
line,
other ways.
there was a line
ways.
where he was
There are
talking
other ways.
to Idris Elba, and he was like, Idris Elba was even like, there's other ways.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's other ways. So
Also, I looked up the way you spell Bifrost. Totally different than what I thought.
How do
it
you
was.
spell
How
it?
do you spell it?
I don't know. I think it's like
Bifrost.
no, it's like
That sounds right.
huh?
They show it in the book, don't they?
Bi.
They open the book and it's a picture of a rainbow.
I could have sworn it was spelled weirdly.
Look it
It
up.
might be. It's
I
Norse.
pictured like B-I. I pictured the way
B.I.
Greg spelled
Frost,
it.
yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm being weird
Did you
right
get
now.
that sticky icky last night?
yeah,
you see
you know
Thor
what's
fly,
up.
man.
So of course,
Weed.
Loki in all the destruction, Loki is thrown off the thing, and Thor goes to grab him, but Thor falls as well, and then Odin is woken up, and Odin grabs him and saves him, and all of them are together, and they're like, Loki, don't kill yourself, and Loki's like, I just wanted your approval, Father. I was gonna be
I'm
the
gonna let
one.
go, except I'm gonna let go.
Yeah, and then he lets go and goes into space, which I thought was kind of cool. Because like, where's he gonna go? Is he dead? Can they breathe? How is this all happening? How are they not breathing? I don't understand. And then Thor has a wonderful moment with his father where he goes, I understand it. I'm not ready to be king yet. I have a lot to learn from you. I'm going to be better. And then he goes over and he says to Elba, hey, what is she doing right now? Describe to me what she's wearing.
Yeah.
Can we get a little creepy? And it gets a little creepy.
It gets a little creepy.
It's a little
and then,
creep-
then it
creep
gets to
nasty.
Natalie Portman, and she's all like,
And she's like,
forget.
yeah, I'm going to find a way back to this unbelievably tall surfer guy. If it breaks me, I will find that way back.
Even though it's a dead end relationship, we're just gonna break up off camera.
Yeah, that was
we haven't got to
upsetting.
that. We'll figure it out.
It's
We'll figure it
unfortunate.
out.
And then they reuse the same
post-credit
shot.
scene.
Well, no, before that, they used the same shot that they used at the beginning of the movie where we see the upside down of Asgard. I mean, it flips up, and I was like, did they just reuse
yeah,
a
that
shot?
was weird.
Guess they ran out of
isn't
money.
the upside down side of Asgard like lava? I thought it was lava, not like
Who
weird
knows?
crystal.
Well, who knows?
Because doesn't it like it doesn't matter. We'll figure
This
it
is-
out.
this
Also, where does
pre that.
Loki fall? Like, what is
He falls in.
Well,
Well,
I think he
he-
falls in
edge.
one of those opposite
Into time.
other ways.
well,
to
yeah,
get-
they established
get
that
through.
all of the other worlds
got
are
magic
different
powers.
parts of the same tree. So he
He
just goes where
probably
he goes.
teleported to Thanos and was like, "Hey, that plan didn't work out. You got any options?"
Well, no, we know he goes to Midgard because of the post-credit scene.
Well,
that's right.
Oh no, but
vision
his
is
vision-
right there.
reflection, yeah.
Yeah, he's using his mischief to
We
be
assume
there and
he's there.
possess
Mischief
Sarsgaard.
mischief managed?
Yeah.
So
Do you think he already had the staff?
I don't know.
We'll get there.
we don't know.
It's a
But
post-credit scene, Nick. What
Post-credit scene.
happens?
We start with Samuel L. Jackson hanging out with Stellan Skarsgård's character. Right now, this guy's just apparently the smartest man in the world because everyone wants a piece of him. And Nick Fury's like, "Hey, we got this cool thing. We want you to help us out with. What do you think it is?" Nick Fury goes, "It's power." Unlimited power. Untapped, unlimited power. We don't know what it is, but if we can tap into it, it's going to be a fucking bad thing, right? And he looks down, and I forget what he says, but it's something to the tune of, well, I guess I got to give that a shot. But as he's saying it, the reflection is really Loki whispering it in his ear. And so we're like, oh, Loki figured out
he's
that the
alive.
Tesseract is in play.
Yeah.
And he wants his piece of it.
This thing that we're still not really clear about. And that's a
power.
weird thing is, again, I think these movies are better watching them in retrospect because I remember when that post-credit scene happened, especially coming off the
Coming off the
Iron
floor.
Man 2 one where we saw Thor, seeing this, it's like, okay, Loki's alive, but like.
I just pretended I was a comics fan. I was like, woohoo! No way! The fucking thing, dude!
But it's like, okay, there's a blue cube.
Dude!
But we didn't
We
know,
knew
and we
what
didn't
that
know what
was.
that was
Come
going to
on.
be until Captain America, right? Don't they explain it more? And
Yes,
that's the main
America really goes
MacGuffin in
into it,
Captain
But that's
America.
why, like,
It's weird they introduced it backward.
Yeah, it's
You're
weird.
like, what is that thing?
And I will.
Why is
we'll
it
Well, I
see-
gets you excited for Captain America.
Yeah.
And
And for
now
the
it's a
people that
fun
know
thing
what
for
it
us to be
was,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's an Infinity Stone.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that's fun. But going into Captain America, it's like, what is this? Like, I
What's
feel
the
like they had
Tesseract?
such.
I feel like we knew. I mean,
We didn't.
As comic book readers,
But
we knew
that's,
it.
That's
Yeah.
that's getting too far into it. I didn't at that point. I
Really?
had no idea. Mm-mm.
Had you
No.
not read the Ultimate series?
Not that.
Damn,
I
he's
read the
checking your
Ultimate
knowledge, dog.
Fucking
I'm just
fake
asking,
nerd boy.
I'm
What's
a
it
real
like
nerd.
working
That's
out?
where it comes.
Ever done a push-up, dog?
All right, going through this, we just went through the plot there. For villains, we had 3 different villains that kind of like went into it. There was the Frost Giant.
Hell yeah, top of the
Lofi,
list.
Whatever.
Very
which is-
easy to
Bad guys
kill.
on bad guys.
Very
Horrible
easy to
man.
kill, right?
Ragu bagu
Whatevs.
Ragu Bagu Viz on Twitter.
Also,
then-
wait, he wasn't the king that was Loki's
No, that
dad,
was
right?
another one, right?
They really should have clarified that because I was like, wouldn't this guy know that was his son?
And also, wouldn't he be like, "Hey, you're actually my dad"?
Yeah, hey, we should hang out.
How would he know if it was his son? If he dropped him off, he just dropped this kid. He was just a runt giant. Dropped him off.
He was a runt
They
giant.
left him to die. Then Odin's
Winter's
war
coming.
happens. You don't know what's happened.
It's weird.
I don't think
Shows
he, I
back
think
up
he,
with white skin.
he was
dating
someone
Taylor
else.
Swift. You don't know what's him.
Let us know in the comments because I was under the assumption he was his dad. But
See,
that
I thought
wouldn't
they
make
would. They
sense.
should have had a little bit of a moment there, don't you think? Because he was like, "Hey, man,
No,
I'm your son."
Yeah, I didn't think he was the.
I thought
I don't
maybe
think
the
it's his
king
son.
died and this was the new
Yeah,
king.
I think that's exactly what
And
I
Odin,
think.
Did he
when
die in the
found him, he was
fight?
like, I'm gonna take this.
Yeah,
king.
he died
Yeah,
fighting
fight
against
into
what's
that.
his face.
Odin.
Good old
I
one eye.
buy it. And then obviously Loki being the real bad guy, and then the Destroyer being the kind of like
Henchman.
fight scene bad guy.
Sure,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
A lot of bad guys here.
And then going into action scenes to kind of because they all kind of go into that. There's the first action scene of being in when they were in Jotunheimers and they fought all the Frost
Jotunheimers.
Giants. And
Jägermeisters.
then there was the one where they fought the Destroyer, and then there was Thor versus Loki at the end. And then there's a couple little action things with Idris Elba, but I thought overall the action in this movie was pretty good.
I just kind of wanted more of it. That's the thing is, I feel like we spent a long time on the roof with Natalie hanging out, and I was like, I'm getting used to
love
this,
that,
and I'm like,
though.
oh wait, this is an action movie. That's
Yeah.
right. There's more stuff going on.
But I feel like this wasn't just an action. I feel like they were
love movie.
rom-com kind of like.
But it wasn't enough
to it.
calm.
It's funny
Or
because
rom.
I remember it being
Yeah.
more rom-com than
Yeah.
it was.
Good job,
Yeah.
Craig.
And I also remember it being a lot more fascinating on the Nordic side than it was.
I think we've just seen so much more of it.
Yeah,
now,
and that
you know?
probably is
in
because
the next Thor movie, there's a lot of Asgard.
Oh, and man, I'm not looking forward to that
Yeah, I
at
know.
all.
None of the
When he
it doesn't
fights
matter.
elves. When he fights
the dark elves.
God.
So bad.
That's my shit
Remember
right
when
there,
they
man.
like
Can't
stab
wait.
themselves with that crystal and it's like steroids?
Yeah,
Let's-
they just
we'll
jacked
get
up on
there.
Mountain Dew. Yeah, it's 3.
The comedy, again, I thought when it was there was good, but I just think that it was
Not
like,
enough of it.
Yeah, too little of it for how long this movie felt. Because if I might be wrong about this, but I think this is the shortest of the
It
Marvel
feels
movies
short.
we've seen.
Wow,
It
really?
also
far.
feels very long.
That we've seen
Yeah.
so far. It
Yeah, I
felt-
was
it definitely
checking my
felt-
watch. I was
Yeah,
like,
I was
all right.
really
Oh,
checking
really?
my watch.
Like it,
I
huh?
didn't feel that way.
I don't hate it.
I didn't feel
Really?
that way. I don't know why. I
My thing is-
totally didn't hate the
Yeah,
movie at all.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it, but I was doing
I
something,
enjoyed
so I was a little distracted. While
I feel like once we get to the fish out of water part, once we get to the Thor on Earth, it's really fun for me.
Yeah.
But the Asgard stuff, because I thought my first perception, and this was kind of proven for me again, was that his little team of people, nothing there for me.
Yeah.
They're not fascinating. They're weird caricatures themselves.
Yep.
They got Ray Stevens as this kind of like oafish dwarf, and I know those are supposed to be those characters, but I'm like, this was misused.
Yeah,
But I
and
mean,
then the sad thing is that whole thing was necessary, though, right? Like we needed it to have any understanding of Thor and Loki because
Sure.
we didn't. Right?
We had to have people being like, this is Thor, this is his character,
Yeah.
and they had to be explained with the friends.
But
I just feel like none of
to
that
the
stuff
movie's
really worked that
detriment,
well
yeah.
to me. And then we got to Natalie Portman, and she's the truth.
She is the truth.
damn,
So that's kind of the whole standalone thing there. But then for universe building, we got Eric Selvig, kind of like him being a big part.
Wait,
going
what do we
forward.
think
We
is
know that.
standalone? You think it's a good standalone movie or a bad standalone movie?
I mean, standalone, I think it's fine. I think that all the problems we're talking about. I mean, it's like it's kind of boring and it's a lull
Okay.
throughout most of it, but
Agreed.
it does have a lot of good points. It's funny when it's funny. The action scenes are good, and seeing like the fish out of water storyline, I feel like they didn't go far enough into it. Like
Yeah.
this movie had too much going on because it had to set up a whole other world, and I think they did a good job with that. But because of that, I don't think that it necessarily stands alone.
I think it was a little slow.
very slow.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think out of all the Marvel movies we've seen so far, aged the poorest. Where like we're now used to a little bit more action and like faster cuts, and we don't get that. Or
well, that's what this. I mean,
comedy.
This is when I watched the original movie. I remember my original critique of it was like I was kind of bored. I didn't love it that much, and mainly because just I don't know much about Thor, and he wasn't really Thor. If that makes sense, like this is his origin movie, but he's Thor in the beginning, and he loses the hammer, and it's him without the hammer for a long time, which is cool in terms of let's build a character, make
relatable,
worthy, all that jazz. But it's also like. I kind of also want to see you fucking hit things with the hammer and show me what your power set is. And like, do you fly or do you throw the hammer? I'm not 1,000% sure. Show me. Well, I know that.
I mean, catches him with a string.
With a string.
See, I thought they did a good job with that first Frost Giant fight scene.
Yeah.
Had they not done that, I think.
Sure, but I would have wanted more of that.
Sizable enough where I'm like, I feel like they showed me all of his different uses of the hammer, right? And I think when it comes to the early origin fight scenes for these movies, especially for characters that have weapons associated with them, Captain America and the shield, Thor with the hammer, Iron Man with the suit, it's like really how creative are they going to be with those uses? And then I think Avengers is what takes it to the next level. And I think Thor did a good job with showing his hammer in different ways, whether it's busting through the
Asgardian bullet.
The bullet was cool, and then the swinging around was cool, and the way he flew different ways.
Did you like it when he used it to hit rocks at people?
That was dope.
That was great. I thought that was cool.
Get on the fucking groove train, DC.
Where's the groove train?
Yeah, so Eric Selvig, he had the comment where he's like, he knows a gamma scientist that disappeared.
Yeah,
that was a great moment.
Incredible Hulk. So cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Let's make that movie
Universe
actually
building.
part of this universe. Hawkeye being there, another cool thing, similar to Black Widow.
He didn't
less
fucking
developed.
do anything, just like he will continue to not do anything in the rest of his movies.
Bro, he had a
really
choice.
liked him in this.
He had a wonderful choice between an M16 and a bow and arrow.
All right, cool. Give me my
like
paycheck.
this,
See
but
you in
I also
Avengers.
agree that he doesn't really do anything in any of these movies, and he's not worth it.
That's true. But we'll.
I mean, I liked what he did though. It wasn't
What,
much,
like
but
aim a thing and then just be like, no.
Well, here's
but he had some neat back and forth with Coulson.
You want to know what would have been cool?
Short
You
and
want to
sweet,
know what would
that's
have
all
been
we
cool?
needed.
You want to know what would have been cool?
What?
He sits there the whole
Batman
time.
vs. Superman would be a good movie.
I want to see what he's gonna do or whatever, right? Hawkeye's got the draw, and then finally, all right, take him out, and he fires it, and it's like a fucking net arrow or an electric arrow. Well, not electric because he already got stunned, but a net arrow or something to incapacitate
Just
Thor.
a blunt arrow
gas
hits him
arrow.
in the head, knocks him out.
Yeah, that would have even been fucking funny as hell, right? And that's how they take this guy out instead of just like, all right, walk up on him, put him in cuffs, even though he's just taking out like 30 dudes.
I liked him not shooting.
devastated.
Yeah.
It made me be like, oh, this guy. I'm waiting to see more from him. If he shot the arrow, I'd have been like, fuck, it's lame arrow.
That's
guy.
it. That's his one move.
It could have easily been a random no-name guard that was a sniper that we didn't give a shit about, but they decided to do a little bit extra with it, so that's why I liked it.
First time watching it, didn't give a fuck about him. I'm now liking it, knowing where it goes. So.
Definitely.
He's married.
Stop. Spoilers, man.
We'll get there.
Yeah, that's right.
And then there's a deleted scene, it's a little fun thing, where Dr. Selvig also mentions Hank Pym, who's Ant-Man. They deleted that because that wouldn't have made sense. And then,
It's too far ahead.
the Coulson asking if the Destroyer is Starks. So that's all I got for universe building there.
Real quick, can I make this? I don't want to forget it. A lot of people in the Iron Man 2 review called out us when we're like, man, I could have gone for more Sam Rockwell. That he's actually in the deleted
One of the one-shots.
the bonus, one shot or whatever on Iron Man 3's DVD.
I want to try to figure out where the one-shots all go.
Yeah.
And I want us to watch those as well.
Okay.
I think
Should we
they're all-
start a
I
new
think they're
show?
on YouTube.
One shot and review? No, that's not bad. One shot stand.
1 minute of one shots.
1 minute of one shots. There it is. You
1v1.
Ragu Bagu vids.
One shot, two opinions.
Cool. There you go.
Sometimes
There you
three?
go.
So the post-credit scene, random fact that I definitely didn't know. Did you guys know it was directed by one Joss Whedon?
Did not.
That's cool.
Yeah, that
Because
explains why it was so
going into Avengers.
well directed.
Were they working on Avengers at the time? And it was just like, because that's kind of what happened with Ryan Johnson.
It was
overlapping with J.J.
way
Abrams.
early.
Yeah,
but
way
it was like him. They did it because he's doing
That's
Avengers.
really cool.
Yeah.
That's really
So
cool.
he was announced by that point.
Whether or not he
That
was
seems
announced.
way early.
Whether or not he was announced, he knew.
Got it.
We
like-
went through the cameos already.
6 years, 7 years? How much?
From Thor to Avengers?
Yeah.
No, like 2
No,
years.
like a year and a half, I want to say.
Wait, 2011 to
You got Captain America, and then it's Avengers.
I have my
And-
year.
and
I'm
Captain
way
America
off.
was
Yeah, I'm way
a month
off.
later.
So you're
First
thinking
Avengers.
that Thor: The Dark World was seminal and needed for Avengers. In fact, was not needed for anything.
Oh, okay.
I can't wait till we get that.
The Dark World, that's phase 2, right? Yeah.
Dark World introduced one of the Infinity Stones, so
Well, Dark World was when they were like, We should do something
I
else.
really don't
different
want
with
to watch
Thor.
Dark
I'm gonna be honest. Phase 2, I'm really worried about watching a lot of stuff.
No, because we get the second Captain America in Phase 2, right?
Yeah.
Winter Soldier was great.
Yeah, but that's the very end, right? Isn't that the
No,
the
it's
end?
pretty early.
Really?
I think.
Do we get
All right, stay on target,
All right,
Time
everybody.
for the rankings.
Let me see if there's more Easter eggs.
Ragu.
Hold on. Jim Carrey was considered to play Loki.
Thank God
Oh,
that
wow,
didn't fucking happen.
Jesus.
Thank God.
At one point, Jane lends Thor a shirt that she said belonged to an old boyfriend with a forgotten name tag on it that read
Donald.
Donald Blake, MD. Dr. Donald Blake is Thor's alter ego in the comics.
Have we ever seen Jim Carrey talk with a British accent?
No, let's move on.
That would have been interesting.
He at one point
No,
did.
that would have sucked.
He did an
Thank
Australian
God it didn't
accent in
happen.
Ace
I gotta laugh
Ventura:
out
When
of Cool
Nature
Greg
Calls.
now.
Okay.
I think.
A fun random thing for you guys in the Ultimate series that I keep referring to, Thor's character is really fun because a lot of people just think that he's this like
Crazy person.
crazy old drunk guy. That's awesome. What a great storyline. It's kind of like the
We,
movie
like-
storyline, but
I don't think that the writers had decided whether or not he was crazy and just like a scientist
For
till
very long.
very, very deep
Yeah.
into it.
He's just a dude with a hammer,
Yeah.
which is funny.
Interesting.
He's like a homeless person for a while.
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
One billboard for New Mexico tourism scene in the background of one shot features the slogan "Land of Enchantment, Journey into Mystery." Journey into Mystery was the original Marvel comic book that Thor debuted in. Tom Hiddleston couldn't stand wearing Loki's helmet and claimed that he channeled that discomfort into the role.
Nailed it.
It looked very tight.
Yeah, it did. I like the look
So,
of it.
I
though.
love the look of it,
That's
yeah.
one of those moments where they're like, you know what? There's an iconic comic thing. We got to keep it.
Yeah.
They
We
nailed
gotta
it,
Give
yeah.
it to them. So, ranking time.
For the villains?
Ragu Bagu.
Go through the
Ragu Bagu
Ragu
vids on
Bagu.
Twitter. Come tell us your rankings. So
How do you spell that?
currently,
How do you spell that?
RAGUBAGUVIDS.
in your face.
Ragu Bagu vids.
Just
In
like
my
it sounds.
face, I was just
Rad
legitimately
guys
like,
talk
how do you spell
bad
that?
We
guys.
couldn't get
Fuck
it without
you.
the vids, huh?
There's another one.
All right.
Apparently,
I'll give myself a fuck off.
It's all right.
I'm sure we could have gotten rad guys talk bad guys, but
Yeah.
Greg wanted Ragu Bagu. So that's why we got it.
Hey, man, you know what? When you got lightning in a bottle,
You got
Put
that
in a
Can we
Hammer
profile
start
picture. It's
writing
good.
down these villains? Because I feel like we're starting to get to the point where there's too many. Who are we ranking? Is it just Loki?
You're not part of this, Kevin. You can't tell these
Yeah,
guys.
you are
how
part
their
of-
lives.
You
I'm
are part
sorry.
of chilling with the villains.
No,
Chilling
I'm
with the
sorry.
Villains.
Last week, Kevin and I nominated ourselves to be part of both Chilling with the Villains and Ragu Bagu.
Yeah,
Bad
But
Guys
that doesn't
versus
mean you
Bad
get
Guys.
in.
And
Both nominated
since the
yourselves.
nomination was not contested for over 24 hours,
We
we
are, in
are
fact,
automatically in.
No,
automatically
we
entered to
created-
win.
In fact, I'm going to vote right now for Nick to be president.
I'm going to vote for Kevin to be co-president, and you guys are out of the club.
I founded Rad Guys.
Both. You're out.
I
you
founded
don't have
Rad
the Twitter
Guys.
information. You don't know how to post anything.
I founded
It's all
Rad Guys
scheduled out.
Talk Bad Guys because fucking everybody wanted to be a part of Chilling with the Villains. Like, you know what? We need a more exclusive club that not any schlub can get into, all right? Or schlubette.
I'm over the shtick. So
Which
who's
one of
the
us is the
villain?
schlubette, you asshole?
The villains. Are we going to talk about them as a collective in Thor?
That's how we did it last
I don't
time.
like that. I
Main
think that's
villain,
a bad
just
idea.
main
Yeah, main
villain.
villain.
Well, what are you going to do then? You're going to have a
It's
fuck.
Loki. The main villain is Loki.
Yes, it's not that hard.
Or
Without
alternatively,
the
main
blue
villain is-
frost giant king, there is no Loki. There is no war. There is no invasion. I say to you, Ragu Bagu
Listeners.
viewers,
I bet you $5.
who is the real bad guy? The blue frost giant. Thank you. I rest my case.
Well,
Could have
his-
been. It could have been
Okay,
Thor's
where's he
ego.
ranked?
Also, I'm just saying. Yeah.
All right, so you guys gonna rank them?
Wait.
No.
Oh, who are we ranking again?
It's on you.
We're going to put...
Obadiah Stane, number
it's
one.
Tony!
Tony. All right, ranking the movies.
So we're not ranking them.
No.
I don't think we ranked them last week either.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Yeah.
I think we tried. I don't think
No,
it ever. Did we
I
ever
mean, I
successfully
did.
rank them?
Yeah.
It's probably on that Google Doc.
Currently,
It was
we have-
Rockwell and Mickey, Obadiah, Abomination.
I think that Loki goes low. No, but we
I think
didn't
Rockwell
agree
and
with
Mickey
that.
are still on top. I'll go...
I'll put Loki at the end.
Yeah, I'd put Loki at the end too.
A
but
below
I feel like-
Abomination.
I feel
know,
like
but-
You guys been
No,
sucking
stop.
this goddamn Abomination dick for
Abomination
too
should
long.
Be one higher for sure. He's definitely better than Obadiah.
I'm keeping... it doesn't matter. Justin Hammer's on top with my boy Whiplash.
J-Ham.
J-Ham.
J-Ham hot, right? All right, the ranking currently goes Iron Man 1, number 1. Iron Man 2, number 2. The Incredible Hulk, number 3. Where does Thor fit?
Dead
in this?
last.
I concur.
I concur too.
I put this over Hulk.
Our first
What?
split vote.
I put this
You're
third over
crazy.
Hulk.
Go ahead and vote. It doesn't matter.
Can we
already
do
have
like
the
tick
numbers.
march or something to find
Yeah,
out
you
what
do
the
have the
consensus
numbers.
is?
I will. I don't know because when it's hard because I watched Incredible Hulk and I was like, wow, I remember that. I liked that a lot more than I thought I was. And I watched Thor again. I was like, I didn't enjoy this as much as I thought I was going to.
I
why
still
it should
enjoy.
go under.
I
It
still,
should be
but
last.
think about this podcast we just did. I think there were so many
put it
more.
over the Incredible Hulk. I'm
There
with
were
Andy.
so many more moments when we recorded this
lost. Doesn't
podcast
matter.
right here, where all of us said, "What a fucking cool scene," and that didn't really happen in.
All
Hulk,
you've
I
been
think.
saying for 4
That is
weeks
true,
is how
but
great
I didn't
Abomination
get bored
is.
during Incredible Hulk.
Thor.
I did. I don't know.
You're crazy.
I like Hulk.
Now,
I like
motion
Hulk more
passes.
than
There's
Hulk.
a no. Good Lord. I want to give you two a chance to change one of our opinions. Do you guys?
You guys are dead last. We're not dead last, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
playing
You guys
Thor
are
a lot.
saying Incredible
You're
Hulk is
fighting for
better
fries.
than Thor.
I give.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm
Opposite.
saying
Opposite.
Thor is
opposite.
better than Incredible.
Opposite.
I give them that because for the sheer two things. Let me tell you two things
Give me
right
the
now,
two
guys.
things, Nick. The good old two things.
The Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman chemistry has never been better. There's never a better chemistry in any Marvel movie that I can think of. I love them together.
What about Tony and Pepper?
I disagree entirely.
What about the Hulk and his girlfriend?
First off, Pepper.
That was
First
great.
off, Hulk and his girlfriend, whatever. She
Betty?
never comes back. Tony and Pepper. Pepper Potts. Gwyneth Paltrow does acts like she doesn't know what the fuck's going on most of the time.
She doesn't. No one can
Doesn't,
keep
yeah,
up with Tony
he's an
Stark.
asshole.
Whatever. And they don't even get together for like 3 movies. So what does it
What
matter?
about What about Mark Ruffalo's Banner and Scarlet Joe?
She looks at him
Hell yeah, dude.
and goes,
Some
"Is
nasty
that
shit's
how
gonna
you
go
normally
down."
look?" And he's like, "Yeah."
It's a great line.
She's like, "It's a good look."
I
just wins,
don't-
man. It
I can't-
wins.
I can't recall any scenes of the Hulk where I thought, man, that's fucking rad. Like I just don't.
You
think
remember when
you're
he was
making
getting
really
shot
solid
by the
points.
giant
And-
speakers, and he was like,
But as silly as it is, the payoff where you're like, I know what's gonna fucking happen. He's gonna give his life for everyone, and then he's gonna be redeemed, and he's gonna get the hammer back, and he gets the hammer back. To me, it actually
I didn't
worked.
like him, but I
I
didn't
did.
like- I didn't like it flying.
yeah, that's the thing. I didn't like it flying. Like,
Thunder, lightning.
It was all very cool,
I
but I
wanted
didn't
a
like
King
it.
Arthur moment where he picks
Yeah.
it up, and like I felt like we built to that because they gave us the fake out where it was like, oh, he's gonna grab it, he's gonna fake out, oh, he's not worth it, and then it just suddenly is just like, oh, hey, it magically went back to you as you were dying.
He called it.
Yeah, when I think
can.
about standout scenes,
He didn't have his
in-
powers. How could he call it?
Because he had
doesn't
the
make
power- he
any
got the powers
sense.
back 'cause he was
That
worthy.
is a plot hole, in my
He was
opinion.
worthy.
When I think about standout scenes in Thor versus Hulk, I'm not only talking about action sequences that were really cool that made us go, "Oh fuck, that's awesome." I'm also just talking about dialogue, like just little one-liners between, like the scene I mentioned earlier where he calls him a princess and Loki says, "Damn!" Like that's such a cool moment to me, building this universe that I just didn't have any moment like that in Hulk. I thought Hulk was a decent movie.
Well, and also the Thor character is a lot more fun to play with than Hulk. Hulk has to be just straightforward. Like at no point was Edward Norton really taking a break from all of like this horribly
Were
traumatizing
there
life
any
that he
funny
leads to
parts
have
in
some
Hulk?
fun. Not
Yeah,
really.
you wouldn't like me when I'm horny or hungry. The lead
Hilarious.
scene was the horny part.
I'll do it in Spanish for you.
We liked it when it.
No
we
te
not
quiero
funny,
mucho.
but we liked Stan Lee's thing. That
Horny.
was funny. We
that
liked when he was hitchhiking on the road and they played the original Incredible Hulk song. We liked when they gave him the purple pants, but he was like, "Come
And they
on."
didn't fit.
We liked when they went to fuck but didn't fuck because his heart rate. We're all like,
didn't
"That's
like
no
that.
way to
We
live."
hated that. I
We liked it
hated
when some weirdo jujitsu guy came up and had a snake in his belly.
Jason Gracie, you're an asshole.
We liked it when the Modern Family guy showed up.
No,
Nah, I
you're just
hated that
naming
guy.
things now. You're just naming
hated
things.
that
You
guy.
liked it. We liked that. We thought that was funny at the time.
I mean, I don't know. But
Here, I mean, it was like
it wasn't a standout like, fuck yeah, dude.
There wasn't. We said, yeah, that was a cool fight scene, and when it was cool, and he punched to the back of the head. Nobody was like, "Fuck yeah, that is a Marvel movie." I'm Jack Black. Nobody did that here.
Well, because I mean, my thing is, as cool as a lot of these moments were, when I said about the Marvel movie thing of War Machine and Iron Man, to me, that's a fuck yeah moment. In Thor, a lot of it was just like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't.
We
have
said,
any of
and we
that with
said
Hulk.
in Hulk, we did say, and maybe not you, but for sure, Tim, when we were talking about some of the fight scenes, we were like, that was cool.
I thought the
And you did like fucking Abomination.
build and all that. I thought that was cool.
that was
I liked
really
it.
cool.
I don't know. I think as a movie, I enjoyed Hulk, and at the end of the day, I liked Thor. Now I like it less. I didn't like Hulk. I like it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Andy's trying to fucking get in here.
Well, we
He's trying to
lost.
be Loki.
We don't have the numbers.
Don't let him
on
be
this one.
Loki.
You just listen to the last Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys.
You
'cause
can't
this,
do that.
This
Shit,
friendship
dude.
is split.
Oh my God.
I don't even know
All
what you're
right,
talking
I'm
about
the
anybody.
fuck thinking.
I got a new co-president and a new
I have
co-president.
access to the Twitter account. I have the controls. It's tied to my email.
Fuck, that
You
part
all
is
are
true.
fucked.
That part is true.
And I made the graphics.
I put up the only tweet though.
So the final rankings as of now are Iron Man 1, number 1. Iron Man 2, number 2. The Incredible Hulk, number 3. And Thor, number 4.
It's bullshit.
We'll have to find out next week when we review
Podcast fucking sucks.
Captain America, the First Avenger.
I'm excited for this one.
Until next time.
Have a marvelous day.
Look what we found.
Yeah, I think we can do something great with that.
Yeah. I think we can do something great with that.
Can we get some hot chips?
Can we get some hot chips?